What is going on, everybody? Monday morning. Welcome back to the channel. Uh, Looking over some comments over the weekend and over the latter part of the week, and thinking about some videos that we've got coming up. Can sort of already anticipate some comments. We're going to talk about soldering and stuff like that. And as we look at guitar repair, guitar maintenance, guitar care, I was looking at the video that we talked about the other day about knocking over your guitar and breaking a Gibson peghead, for example. And even what I felt at least was pretty reasonable. Like, don't drop your guitar and it won't break. Sort of line of reasoning. There's still many folks who just really hold to the. It's almost like they make excuses for reality. And one of the things I was thinking about with that is, as guitar players, we have a tendency to cut corners and make excuses for things. Well, let me give you an example. Okay, so obviously we want to blame Gibson for breaking a peg head. And the design and etc. Well, Gibson tried to fix it, and guitar players didn't like it, right? So there's that. If we do a video on soldering, people want to cut corners by sanding the back of the pot, which is actually a bad idea. Using flux, which is actually a bad idea. When in reality, what they really need to do is spend $40 more on a better soldering iron, and all their problems go away. You know what I mean? Like, when you think about the quality of the instrument itself, if you just invest a little bit more in the instrument, then you have a lot less issues. So what are you trying to do? Are you the person who's buying stuff to tinker? Because that's a thing, and it's super fun, and I totally encourage it. So you buy a cheap guitar, you buy a cheap amp, you buy whatever with the intention of knowing that you're going to have to go in there and upgrade stuff and tinker around and stuff. And that's really fun. Or are you cutting corners? And the reason I say cutting corners that way is because we have a tendency also to blame guitar brands for cutting corners. Guitars aren't what they used to be, etc. The thing is you can find guitars that there aren't cut corners. You just have to pay for it. So what is that? Like, where are we on that? And I guess I'm asking you, you know what I mean? This is not, everybody approaches this differently. So I'm not like throwing shade on any one person. But I just want to point out sort of a viewpoint that's like sort of weird to me, and I'm trying to get a handle on it, I guess. So like on the soldering thing, we'll do a video. In fact, we're going to shoot a video today. And I'll be honest with you, it's going to be invest in some good equipment, and you'll never have these problems again. Invest in a little bit of time learning the actual skill and not the shortcut, right? If you take shortcuts to learn how to solder, you're always going to fight something. If you buy good equipment and actually develop a little bit of skill, buy a little bit of practice, maybe ruin some pots, invest in some stuff, you're gonna win, and you're gonna have a skill that's gonna last you forever. If you have a guitar that, if you just want to play, invest in an instrument that you just can play, and you don't have to deal with all the junk to make it work right. Because you can do that, but it costs money, right? And so where are you on that? Like, what? Everything's a give and a take, right? And everything, there's a cost to everything. I always say to people, well, this guitar has this particular upgrade on it, and I don't think it's worth it. Well, the part doesn't just jump on there by itself. Somebody has to get paid to do that. Whether it's binding, whether it's better fretwork, whether it's stainless steel frets, whether it's whatever. So you can't expect something for nothing. Everything costs. Like and it could be incremental. And of course, we have intangible costs, business costs that we hate dealing with, but they're there. So all those things are cumulative to the cost of a product, to the cost of a service. Like if you're having somebody set your guitar up, for example, everything is an investment. Then if you want to do it yourself, investment in the tools, investment in the time to learn, investment in all that stuff. So what I find though in these comment sections of a lot of the videos, because we've got, I don't know, 2,000 videos or something, and a very common theme is shortcuts. So it's sort of a double standard, because it's like, I'm going to take a shortcut, but I'm blaming somebody else for taking a shortcut because now I have to take a shortcut. It's like weird. So that's an interesting one to me. Everything's a give and a take. It's just a thought. I just wanted to talk about that because I'm the kind of person, and okay, so and here's the other thing. Everybody's going to go back to budget, right? Well, what if you can't afford X or Y? What if you can't afford X or Y? Okay, there's a couple of things I want to point out with the budget thing. First of all, what if you have to cut the cost of something, the budget of something? Can you be strategic? Should you be strategic about it? This is with everything, right? If you have a car and you have a safety item and you have a non-safety item and you need to do a repair, what are you going to, and you only have X amount of dollars to do that repair, what are you going to do? You're going to invest in the safety item and you're going to maybe buy the Amazon version of the not safety item. It's kind of, right? It makes sense. So why don't we do that with guitar stuff? It's possible to actually prioritize things, right? So when we do that, so that's the first thing. And then the second thing is, one of the things I think people take for granted about any hobby, especially guitar, and we're talking about guitars, is you have to pay to play. Everything costs. So if you are going to be a participant in a area of interest, you have to pay to be part of that area of interest, whether that's an investment of time or an investment of money. You have to invest, right? Could it be, and I'm not saying that you can't afford to play guitar, but could it be because of your personal budget that you cannot afford to play guitar at the level of your interest? Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. So one of the things I think guitar players have a hard time, like, instead of saying Gibsons are too expensive, just realize that you're an Epiphone guy and there's nothing wrong with that. Realize that you're a Harley Benton guy and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't use it as an excuse to look at the rest of the hobby and say, expensive guitars bad, expensive guitars blah blah blah, not fair, expensive guitars rip off, expensive guitars whatever. Just be like, no dude, like, look, this is what I can afford. I'm at a spot in one of my collecting hobbies where I can't, I like watches, and I at this time do not have the resources set aside. I'm not saying I can't afford it, but I don't want to invest the money. I want to get a Speedmaster. I want to get an Omega Speedmaster, but I don't have $5,000 to spend on it because I could get a used one for about $5,500. I just don't have the money for that. I have other things like a business to run. Like I don't have the money for that. So do I try to find a knockoff one? Do I try to find a cheaper way to do it? Do I try to find, well, yes and no, right? I'm not going to go find a Chinese knockoff of a Speedmaster. That would be stupid. So what I do is, now I do have the Swatch Speedmaster, which is really interesting. But that's its own little sub-brand. But what I do have is other watches that I find fill my interest for now, knowing that they cost less money. And it's totally fine. I don't look at that thing and go, that thing shouldn't cost that much. That thing shouldn't, right? Whatever. I just realize where I am in the journey of my hobby, and I think it's important for people to be honest about that. And I think you'll have more fun with that because if you're just like, okay, I'm a Harley Benton guy, I'm an Epiphone guy, I'm a Fender Squire guy, and it's totally fine. And I'm gonna put the aspirational guitar on a poster on my wall, custom shop, whatever, Gibson, whatever. And instead of talking trash about it and talking trash about to other people about it, um, it's just going to be kind of a dream. Will I ever get there? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm going to enjoy where I'm at now. And that mentality, if you can change that around, will help you cut less corners and enjoy where you are right now. And I think if you invest differently, invest in good tools, invest in skill, invest in time, to really enjoy the hobby where you're at, I think it will really, really help. Which is what we want to try to do, right? Like that's what this channel, well, my big channel, is all about. You know, if you've got an inexpensive guitar and you want to upgrade it, that's why we're here. Like that's what we do. Um, I'm not going to help you try to be cheaper. Okay, I'm going to help you get the most out of your resources, but I'm not going to try to help you be cheaper. So I'm not going to give you um, tips and videos that are like, this is the cheapest way to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you the most effective way to do it. And then what you'll have to do is probably prioritize things to get what you need to get done within your budget. There's a difference, right? I'm not going to help you do the cheapest way. I'm going to help you do it the best way. And then, because the best is the best. And then, it's what we know. We keep learning and it keeps getting better. But I'm not going to help you be cheaper. Have a good one.